You break out of the egg, and two things hit you immediately. First, the water is shockingly cold. Second, you are trapped in a chaotic swarm of about 300 frantic, wriggling siblings, blindly bumping into you and everything else in sight. There are no parents around to guide you. They laid the eggs and bolted months ago, settle into a dense clump of aquatic plants, and freeze. You quickly learn the very first rule of survival: stay invisible or become someone's dinner. Eventually, hunger forces you to act. A tiny, slow-moving worm drifts by. You lunge at it, mouth wide open, and miss by a solid mile. It takes 4 embarrassing, uncoordinated attempts just to catch something that barely moves. Life as a newborn axolotl is a clumsy, exhausting scramble. You have 0 skills, you have 0 support, and your biggest immediate threat is becoming a quick snack for your own brother. A few weeks in, you've leveled up. You're faster, your strikes actually land, and you can successfully hunt small shrimp in the open water. You've officially graduated from bottom feeder to mid-level predator. Then a shadow falls over the lake. A heron lands nearby, its long legs slicing through the water. In an instant, a massive new tier appears above you, completely dwarfing your hard-earned status. You press your soft body completely flat against the muddy lake bed. The heron's beak plunges into the water right above you. You kick hard, zigzagging blindly through the shallows, as the beak stabs the water again and again, slicing just behind your tail. You wedge yourself deep into the plant stems and curl into a tight ball. The heron steps closer, shaking the weeds around you. You hold perfectly still, keeping your external gills completely motionless, knowing the slightest twitch will give you away. Surviving the strike teaches a harsh lesson. Outgrowing the tiny threats at the bottom of the lake doesn't make you safe. You are simply big enough to be noticed by the truly deadly hunters watching from above. Surviving predators is only half the battle. To keep growing, you need a steady supply of worms, good cover, and space. You have to claim a permanent territory. You find the perfect spot, but a sibling is already floating there, acting like they own the place. You both charge. 2 squishy amphibians snap wildly at empty water, flailing and bumping into each other like a pair of angry, drunk noodles. You puff out your gills to look as large as possible. They bump your side, and you flinch dramatically. It's a game of bluffing, snapping at tails and staring each other down until someone decides the effort isn't worth it. Finally, your sibling flicks their tail and swims off. You settle into your new home. You have a guaranteed food source, thick plants to hide in, and space to hunt without interference. Securing a piece of the lake doesn't require lethal force or killer instincts. It comes down to awkward persistence, looking slightly bigger than the other guy, and refusing to leave. By age 2, you reach full adulthood. Suddenly, a shift occurs across the entire lake. It's mating season, and the environment charges with frantic, competitive energy. If you're a male, you kick into overdrive. You aggressively patrol the edges of your territory, flexing your gills at passing worms and random shadows, desperate to look intimidating and capable. A female cruises by. You swim out to block her path, flaring your gills and awkwardly swimming in circles to show off your best angles. You snap at the water to prove your hunting skills. She stops, looks at you, and radiates absolute boredom. For the female, the goal is simple. She watches the males trip over themselves, selects the one who looks the least ridiculous, and completes the process. She then swims off, lays her eggs in some weeds, and leaves them to their fate, restarting the cycle of utter parental abandonment. This clumsy, exhausting performance is the biological finish line. Getting through the freezing water, the hungry siblings, and the herons led directly to this specific, unglamorous moment. A few years later, life settles into a predictable rhythm. You know every rock and plant in your territory, and you patrol it with the ease of a seasoned veteran. You spot a worm drifting down through the water column. You perfectly calculate the distance, lock onto your target, and prepare to strike without a hint of your former clumsiness. After years of close calls and awkward struggles, you are in total control. You have survived the gauntlet and mastered your tiny corner of the natural world. Then, a massive tilapia slams into you from behind. There is no epic fight. You don't get a chance to puff your gills, zigzag away, or hide in the stems. The crushing pressure hits, and you are swallowed completely whole in a fraction of a second. The tilapia doesn't even pause. It finishes swallowing, levels out, and calmly swims off into the murk, as if it just swallowed a passing leaf. Just a few feet away, another axolotl is stalking a shrimp in the weeds, completely oblivious to the fact that you vanished. The ecosystem doesn't care about your struggle, your mastery, or your perfectly maintained territory. Nature is a completely indifferent machine. One life abruptly ends, a new batch of eggs hatches in the freezing water, and the lake simply keeps moving.